Let's see if I can catch Leela.
Catch Leela there.
Co-host.
Hi,
Got it.
Jeremy. So good to see
Hey.
you.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. And Phoebe. Hello, my
Phoebe.
friend. And
Hello,
Rowena.
Anna.
Hello. Hello. Rowena, we're really thinking about you at the moment.
Yeah.
And
Patty.
Patty. Hello.
And Patty, we are answering your question from last time first, once we get into the question.
Yeah. Done. Lorraine. Hello. Isn't that the first time Lorraine is here?
No.
Have you been here before, Lorraine?
Last time?
Last time? Yes. And Rod.
Hello.
And Bernadette.
Hello.
Is it the
Hey,
first time
Don.
Bernadette is here?
Yes.
I think we have so many
Yes.
new faces here. Or is it just we? Yeah.
Yeah, Bernadette's here.
Yeah. Maureen. Maureen is old.
Hey, Harlan.
What and Harlan?
And Kirby?
And Kirby? Yeah.
Hello.
And you, Kirby.
Hello.
Welcome. Let's see. Oh, Debbie's coming.
So we had a suggestion yesterday about, instead of starting with meditation as we've done for the last couple of times, then start with the embodiment. And for all you new guys, I really hope this is not going to scare you away.
Yeah.
It's not normal for us to be like flower power, hippy dippy, and wanting all of you to do the same.
It's something we started in the retreat last year, and people really enjoyed it. And so we've done it once, I think, once or twice since then in this Tuesday meeting. So normally the Tuesday meetings start with a little 20 or 30 minute guided meditation. But this is an opportunity to get into your body, into...
Yeah, it's because we're very much about taking the awakening process from being a cerebral experience and into the body. We can sit and think about it and talk about it forever, but the body keeps the score. I love that book. But the body knows everything. Everything you have experienced is locked into your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, and your fascia. And by moving the body, you release all that. So Todd, he created the music,
which I'm going to post. You've already posted it, but I'm putting it in the chat for people who are new or haven't seen this before. So there is a link to the...
And then in a moment, we're going to count down and then we start the video. So I can recommend you just to click on the link and start the video so you get all the advertising. Thank you, YouTube, out of the way. So you're ready for the music when we count down. And then we just start dancing. And it's dancing or moving or jumping or shaking or roaring or pumping or whatever you feel that your body needs to loosen any kind of tension that is in your body.
If you have pots and pans and want to bang on them with spoons, or punching pillows, whatever is needed in
roaring
that moment, that
into
feels...
a towel, whatever comes up when you do it. And it's basically just about moving the body and getting in contact with the body, shaking all limbs that needs to be shaken, and feel your body.
And from a perspective where it's not that you're forcing yourself into it. It's not that I think I should be moving this way, so I'm going to do it. It's more about, before you even start, put on the music and feel into the body, and just feel the body have its sort of natural rhythm, feel it have some sort of natural pull, natural movement. And you're basically just getting out of the way. You're turning off whatever egoic sense is there, any feeling of being judged or observing or observed, judging what's happening, criticizing it, feeling embarrassed or any of that. It's really putting all of that aside and just feeling into the body and giving it the absolute freedom to do whatever it needs to do in this moment. Because we often don't give it that license. We're always kind of rigidly forcing ourselves into certain behavioral patterns, and we live in a very rigidly socially confined way. And so this is an opportunity to just break out of that and allow the body its chance to just express whatever needs to be expressed with no guardrails on it.
It's also, when we talk about awakening, it's also a really good way to become aware of that narrator that you have in your mind that is constantly, thank you, that is constantly commenting on what you're doing and judging what you're doing. And just, for example, because you see everybody is jumping about, it doesn't mean that you need to jump about. You can just stand still and just sway. Whatever your body feels like doing in that moment, then do that. And when you start to notice a narrator that is judging you or commenting or anything, then just look into that. Where is that coming from? That thinker that is thinking and judging right now, who is that thinker judging? Is there anybody here that can be judged? And who is actually doing that judging? Because that is really putting a headlight and a spotlight onto that complete delusion that the inner voice is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully everybody has the link. We're going to be muting ourselves during this so that there's no additional echo. So we asked everybody also mutes their audio during this. You can have your own TV, cell phone, computer, whatever running the sound. If there's other music, if you particularly dislike this and have something else that really works for you better, that just allows you to just be embodied and completely emote and release, by all means use that instead.
We also have the embodiment channel.
We do.
We have a playlist on the Awakening curriculum with different music that has been suggested by you guys that is really nice to move with, and you can use that as well.
And I don't know if we're going to do this. The track itself is a half hour. Not sure. I think we're going to maybe do the full thing, but we're also going to kind of go by you guys. So if you are comfortable keeping your camera on, please do. And then we'll kind of see where everybody is in the process. And if everybody is just kind of crashed, lying down, sitting down by the end, then we'll stop it and come back. Otherwise, you have like a half hour to just let everything out.
And if you feel like taking your camera off and going and get a cup of tea and sit in the sunshine instead, you're welcome to do that too.
We'll be back in 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so if you click on the link that is in the
chat,
and make sure that all the advertisement is out of the way.
Todd, Jeremy had a question. Do you still have the question, Jeremy?
I was curious about how long it was going to be because I was planning on getting up and I didn't want to have to watch my screen the whole time, but I'll just check in after.
Yeah, between 20 minutes and a half an hour. I think half an hour, because normally when we start to get into it, the body is taking over, and then it's nice just to have the space. So let's say half an hour. Good question. Okay.
All right.
Then should we count down?
I think so.
Are you guys ready? So we start in 3, 2, 1. Enjoy.
Go. Okay.
I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as at least I did. Todd, he banged his head on the floor.
I meant to say, make sure you're in a very safe place where you can't bump into
padded
things or
room.
knock things over, or yeah.
But it's so nice just to doing those ragdoll exercises and feeling how the body slowly is allowing more and more movement, and how the body is just taking over, that there's no controller by the steering wheel.
Yeah.
We said last time that we would take Patty first.
Yeah.
I have her on my phone. Oh,
yeah,
I
your
have my
phone's
phone
over
here.
there.
Got it. Just fine.
Let me close.
Oh, that was nice.
And I'm gonna minimize.
Thank you to, it was Kate who recommended it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
asked when we would do it again. Thank you to Kate for reminding us. Well, that was nice.
Okay. So, Patty, there you are. Hey.
Let me just get us here. Spotlight and Patty.
There she is, in the top.
There. Oh, where? At. There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Ah,
Should I
exhausted.
I know. I'm pooped.
So
Do you want me to turn that light
you
on?
pooped.
I'm pooped.
Is that a phrase?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
That's a thing.
it's a new one for you.
yeah, second language here. That was really nice. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. That was really nice. I'm
It's amazing what I learn when I'm doing that. The voices in the head that are continuously.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Let go.
Yeah.
Completely.
There's nobody there to observe you, nobody there to watch you, and yet there's that judgmental voice about what you can and what you can't, and it's so interesting. It's so interesting. We do really not need, to put the blame on anybody and say, "Oh, I was taught this and that." We're continuing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, super warm.
Should have put the fan on.
Yeah.
Are you ready for my question yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm recalling, I was remembering I was just at a dinner a few days earlier at around, I don't know, 6 or 7 p.m. and this sense of dread just whoosh. This whole was just like this dread. It was a whole body thing. And I had remembering some of the things you said was, find that place and talk to it. And I was like, well, I'm doing that and it's not going away. It's not going away. It's not going away. I can't wish this dread to go away. It's not the first time this has happened. It's happened many times over the last few years. I've noticed it. I don't know how long it's been happening, but it's just when I've noticed it. And then I by the time the ice cream came around, I was like, oh, it's gone. So did the ice cream make it go away? Like a child, when you're having a temper tantrum, here's a candy. This will make you feel better. I don't know what that is, but I wanted to stay with it. I didn't want to think it away. I didn't want to pray it away. Please, God, help me. I just wanted to sit with it. And it was just, and then when the ice cream came and I'm eating it, I'm like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is.
I have two things I would like to say. The first thing is the part that there's still that little. I love everything you're doing, and everything is exactly right on the way of experiencing and expressing. That you just allow it to be. You do not divert in any way. You do not blame, shame, complain, or anything. You just sit with it. But you still have that little nugget of it having to go away. You still have that it's not okay. What we keep saying is that this moment is exactly like it's supposed to be. There's nothing that needs to happen, or nothing needs to go away. This moment is perfect as it is. So the feeling of dread is only happening in a comparison with a feeling of not dread. And that is why when we say that there's something wrong with this dread. But if this moment is perfect as it is, this moment is perfect with the sensation of dread. There's nothing that needs to happen for that not to be there. Clearly, it had to happen and be there right in that moment, at the minute, in the middle of dinner, just before the ice cream. It just had to be there. So it's more an embracing of what actually is, because we can't argue with reality. Dread is here. Okay, this is clearly the moment where dread is supposed to be here, because it is. So instead of wishing for it to go away, if you imagine it as a little Patty in you that is coming with all of her demands, and then the 2024 Patty tells, well, you can't be here now. You're unwanted. I don't want you. I want you to go away. What we would like for you to do is embrace even the ugly, demanding, dreadful Patty. So love all of it. Oh, you're here now, Mrs. Dread. So nice to meet you. I did not know that I was going to have dinner with you, but apparently I am. And then by allowing it to be there, if you don't create any stories about it, oh, it's because of the people I'm having dinner with. Oh, this reminds me of my childhood. Oh, if you don't do any of that, but just allow for dread to be there. Oh, I'm having dinner with dread. Completely fine. Then it will evaporate, because it can't stay forever. Nothing is permanent, not even the feeling of dread. It only becomes permanent when we keep thinking about it and creating something out of nothing about it. If you just allow to have dinner with dread, then it's going to evaporate again.
So is that like a real skill I have to learn, that has to be learned? Because my skill is to push everything away.
Yeah.
I don't like to push it away, push it away, push it away.
Yeah. We were taught to push, and we chose to push things away when we didn't have the intellectual or emotional capacity to deal with it. Clearly you do now. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this conversation. So I don't think it's a skill that you need to learn. I think it's just a new awareness that needs to happen, like that you just acknowledge, oh, dread is a part of me. There's nothing wrong with this room called dread. There's nothing wrong with dread coming up in the middle of dinner. I can sit and have my dinner with the feeling of dread. Completely fine. It does not need to go away. It does not need to stay. It can do whatever I want. And then you just allow what is presenting itself in this moment to be here. And it's so strange that we have this craving for good sensations, because we wouldn't have this conversation if you were sitting at the dinner table and suddenly had that huge feeling of joy or great. You were just grateful in that moment for sitting at the table. We want those feelings. We don't want the other feelings, but it's a yin and yang game, this. So in order for you to feel more grateful, you also need to have been in the room with dread, so you become more full of a person. Otherwise, we're those shallow ones that avoid everything. Don't be too happy. Don't be too happy. Don't be too sad. Don't be too sad. Instead, we just allow whatever is presenting itself in this moment. And if it's gratefulness and joy, I'm having dinner with gratefulness and joy. If it's dread and anxiety, I'm having dinner with dread and anxiety. It's not something that is permanent, and it's not something that is staining you in any way to feel dread or to, oh, I've never felt that before and suddenly I feel it. Well, congratulations, you have just entered a new room. You're just becoming more, full than you were before.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Follow-up question too, though. In the message that you wrote, you had related it to having to do with the eighth fetter, and Do you feel like that is something this is tied into this particular oncoming of dread?
Yeah, so I am one of those people comes from a toxic positivity background, and I love everything. And if I don't love everything, something is wrong. So that's what I was thinking, that this was ape fetter related, because now that's kind of fading away, and I'm it's not all roses, and I don't know what to do with it. So is that what you mean?
Yeah, nothing is all roses. Nothing, because now you're talking about that. What you're actually saying is, I'm not permanent. I used to be permanent. Now I'm not permanent. You never were. By having a life full of toxic positivity and having that bubble of bliss that you're in, if it's toxic, then it's not really being present with what is present. You're pretending that something is, but it's just gaslighting. Yeah. Instead of just really truly being present with what is and being absolutely okay, whatever you bring to the table, I'm here for you. Dread is on the table, I'm here. Joy and bliss is on the table, I'm here. I'm equally here for no matter what comes up. That is authenticity. You know, then everything is allowed to be there. Reality is allowed to present itself the way that reality is right now. And when we say reality, what we point to is that direct experience that you have in a snapshot of a now. That was the other thing I wanted to say. That dread only becomes a thing when you do it in comparison with something else. So the feeling of dread in this moment right now is only happening because you're comparing to a past moment where you didn't have dread. And then you compare those two as if that is even possible. You can't. You're a different person. Could we turn that camera off that keeps going back and forth?
Sorry.
You can't compare to a past moment. This snapshot right now feels like this. This snapshot right now feels like this. Those two are not weaved together in any way. Like Tolle, he talks about by being in the now, you know, that is it. There's this snapshot of a now. And it's only when we start to weave them together that we can say, ooh, this now was without dread. This now is with dread. Ooh, that makes this now a worse now than this now. We're in our mind instead of just being present in the moment. In your direct experience, you can't even put a label on that saying that this is dread, or this is not nice, or this is not preferred, because then you are in your mind. In your direct experience, it's just being, you know, breathing through every single pore, taking everything in, you know, really soaking in every single sensory experience that is present right now. And this is all there is. Dread is a label that we put on afterwards, creating something out of nothing.
Yes. I see that. Cool. It feels like foreign territory, but I'm going there. I'm there.
Yeah.
And of course, you know,
even now, like right now, I'm feeling some trepidation, blah, blah, blah. I'm in camera and, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
Do you find that the trepidation starts before a thought or after a thought?
Oh, that I don't know.
If you start to notice,
slowed down and zoomed in.
Slow down and zoom in.
Yeah. You see, because if it's has to do with you being on camera, then there's a thought about, oh, I'm on camera, people are seeing me, hearing me. There has to be something there which is sparking that to begin with. Then you can kind of start to see, like in the situations of where you're out to dinner or whatever, if you are slowing down and really being aware of what thoughts are arising, what sorts of things are coming up, then you become aware of the fact that the dread isn't just spontaneous occurrence out of the blue. There's probably something that precipitates it, and it's not something that's real. It's not something that, necessarily you see a gunman entering the door or something. It's just something where you probably have been in your mind thinking about something, not even really aware that you are thinking about something, that there's an association going on with something that you've been talking about or seen.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden this is bringing up some feeling of dread, which is just, to you, when you become consciously aware of it, it's like, where did that come from? But it probably has a long history of precursors to it that just went under the radar.
Yeah, I thought it might have been something pre-verbal, because I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then notice, though, if it is a pre-verbal thing and it just seems to be there, then, like Pernille was saying, it's so useful to just be with it outside of the label of what you think that dread is. And of course, dessert helps because it's a distraction. Something new comes to the table and it becomes the new distraction to where this is taking over in the moment.
It could have been somebody next to you tipping over a glass of wine and red wine going everywhere. And then you would have, snapped out of it and dread would be gone. It doesn't mean that you need to tip over red wine every time you feel dread. It's just that there was something, snapping you out of it.
Yeah.
And when the dread happened, were you present enough with it, or were you immediately locked into stories about it?
Well, let's see. I was with it, and then the thought was, find a spot in your body just to rub like it's little Patty and give her some attention. So that was the story that was coming up. But the first story would have been, I don't like this. I don't like this. Yeah.
Yeah. And that resistance just doubles and triples the suffering in it, because all of a sudden now it's a problem that it's there. And you're reinforcing that idea that it, as you said, it shouldn't be here. And I want it to go away.
And also another thing that is interesting, that if it is pre-verbal, then you can't even put the label of dread on it. Then label of dread happens with an adult understanding, an intellectual understanding, and lots of analysis that comes on top and going like, oh, this is dread. So it's really zooming in and slowing down and feel into, okay, so if it's not dread, what is it then? It's a contraction in the chest, it's difficult breathing, it's pressure behind my eyes. It can be anything. So if you remove the label of dread and just describe, do you remember how it felt in the body?
Yeah, kind of. I wish I would have done that, but I just seemed like a total body heaviness.
It's one of the things that we often do, that we divert from what is actually happening in the body by adding a label to it.
Yeah.
So now we talk about dread instead of talking about what it actually was.
Yeah. Kind of wish I would have paid more attention.
No worry, it will be back.
It
will be back. No worries.
It'll be back. Hey,
you're fine. Yeah. You're fine.
And then just lastly, though, the question of if it was in any way related to eighth fetter, because for the most part, most of our fears and dreads and all of that at some point stem to a fear of our own mortality in some way. And so with the eighth fetter, because you made the association that you think it might have something to do with that, is it this fear of annihilation, this fear of losing all identification, that is at least causing, it might not have been the same reason why you had that particular uprising of dread at the dinner, but in general, is this something that feels like a problem for you, or something that's been coming up?
A little. Yeah. I went a couple of weeks and I brought it to my friends at church, and they, all thought I was suicidal. And because I didn't know what was going on. And I, rightly or wrongly, I brought it up to some friends in a discussion, and there were some dark thoughts happening. Like I was reading the obituaries and thinking, wow, those guys found a way out. And that wasn't that long ago. So maybe this is residual dread, well, whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's also important to notice that you have had a long period with toxic positivity, and it is a seesaw, you know, so it needs to balance itself out. So just as toxic positive you have been, oh, what I'm feeling now is actually not dread. It's just, you know, I feel that I'm alive, or I feel it's actually, if you really notice, then, and all the gaslighting that has happened, you might be a novice to feelings that are not positive for some whatever reason, that you have never been taught how to manage your emotions, only the good ones. And if that is the case, then you are novice in feeling these things, and it might having that feeling of heaviness in the body might very quickly get a label on it that it's not really the correct label, but it's just because you're not used to feeling or allowing your body to feel anything but butterflies. And if life can only be butterflies in the stomach and rainbows and glitter, then obviously when you feel a heaviness in your body, then it immediately is interpreted as something that is not okay, that should not be here. And there is put a huge drama story. Now the camera just hit again. Huge drama story on it, that makes it something out of nothing about it. And that drama story is what you're taking to your friends, going like, I read the obituary and they got a way out. Obviously your friends go, oh, because they have only seen the positive Patty. They haven't seen the other side. But I think it's more about, you know, you're a novice to all the sensory experiences that you feel, and just allow whatever is there to come up. And instead of diverting with a label, this is, you know, dread or heaviness or depression or anything like that, then just really notice, how does this actually feel? If it doesn't have a label, because it's pre-verbal, if it doesn't have a label, how does it actually feel? How does it feel to be in a body, and can I be in a body?
Yeah.
And then also, I was just going to piggyback on that, because
Piggyback away.
If you find that you are, you know, feeling that heaviness and then ascribing to it labels like dread or depression or
Yeah.
So noticing that those are still just those raw sensations, and in and of themselves, they don't mean anything. They don't have, like, depression isn't a thing. It's a pattern of thoughts that have a certain perseverating negative quality to them, and a feeling of heaviness, exhaustion, low energy, something like that in the body. And it's to recognize what you're actually experiencing, as opposed to feeling like you are caught in some sort of cyclic trap or something like that, to just realize that you're just feeling tired, you're feeling heaviness in the body. And instead of immediately ascribing that to dread or depression and all of the runaway thoughts and outcomes that can lead to, it's just really coming back to how the body feels and what you can do to support the body in that way. If you feel heavy and you feel exhausted and you feel kind of low in energy, what can you do? You know, maybe ice cream isn't the best option, but like, you know, asking that little Patty that's there right now, what do you actually need in this moment?
Did you remember Teddy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it, but I had an interview with Ted Hawkins at some point where he was doing the second Fetter stuff, and he really had such a cleansing with vomiting and diarrhea, and he really had like a lot of, you know, detoxing symptoms to doing the awakening and all of that. And then he asked, okay, so what is it actually I want? If I can do whatever little Teddy want right now, what does little Teddy want? And he wanted, what was it, to go to?
Well, he wanted chocolate chip cookies, homemade chocolate chip cookies for one thing. So he made chocolate chip cookies, and then it was to go to Disneyland. So he went to Disneyland.
He went to Disneyland and bought Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, his little Teddy wanted a Winnie the Pooh doll, so he bought a stuffed Winnie the Pooh.
And we're talking about a big grown man with tattoos. Man with tattoos everywhere.
He's been in prison and out of prison.
And out of prison and stuff like that. Yeah, and baking chocolate chip cookie and going to Disneyland and buying himself a little teddy bear.
Yeah.
Because it's that, really be open, be the parent in the room, be the one that is taking care of you and meeting the needs that you have. And no matter what is brought to the table, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's that fine line between, we're seeing through self, we're seeing through identification, but at the same time, if there are things in there that still need to be met and nourished and healed, then this is where it's as you say, the self-care for the non-self. It's like really being compassionate and loving and caring for what is here in the most gentle and open and compassionate way possible, while also not
creating stories.
Yeah, reinforcing this whole narrative that just makes it something that is going to continue to have all of these tendrils into more and more stories going forward. And
it's not something you do because your parents never did.
Yeah,
it's not stories like that. It's something you do because it's what is arising in the moment as a need, and that's why chocolate chip cookies it is.
Yeah, like the exercise that we just did, it was about just feeling into the body and letting the body do what it needs to do without all the secondary thoughts that are saying, no, you shouldn't do that because you can't do that because. This is the same thing. If ice cream happens to be the thing, ice cream is the thing. It's not to vilify any particular thing. It's just to really be authentic and what is this actually calling out for? What do I really need? Not to distract from feeling something else, but what is this like authentic need right now? And is it just a hug? Is it acknowledgement? Is it going for a joyride in the country? Is it going and sitting and meditating? Whatever it is, it's okay. It's just really feeling into what is needed in this moment. And
I love asking the question, if I was wise, what would I do?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it really helps, to getting out of my own way. If I was wise, if you were wise, Patty, what would you do? And then you just do that.
Yeah, I never think to ask those types of questions, but I look forward to that.
Yeah.
It helps to go back and listen to this recording and reminders and because when you said what would little Patty do, and she just wants to go play.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be stuck in this restaurant. Yeah. With all the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look at ways in your life that you feel trapped by other people's or your own
ideas,
rigid
rules.
Yeah. What do you really want to be
cool. Very cool. That'll be fun. I appreciate that.
Good.
Let us know how it goes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so
Thanks for going there with me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Of course, anytime.
Yeah, this was a better venue for it than the Friday one because you really need the interaction back and forth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And before we take the next one, I just want to say that the practical information that next week it is the Friday Q&A, and you ask the question. It's live on YouTube for the members on the Awakening Curriculum channel, and you can ask the question live, or you can go to Discord and ask the questions in there. There's already a question from Caesar. So yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is next, Leela?
Maureen.
Maureen, okay.
It's me.
That's about right. Hey, Maureen. How are you?
Hello.
I really enjoyed your conversation with Patty.
Mm.
Sitting with sensations is something that I'm wanting to do more of. But what I find is I don't feel big sensations. I know growing up, my mom growing up, there was a lot of yelling in her family. And so she often said, when she had a family, there was going to be no yelling, no arguing.
Yeah.
There wasn't, as far as I can remember. So I never really developed the skills to deal with that, for one thing. But I find for myself that there just aren't big feelings to sit with. There is lots of little feelings. But when I sit with the little feelings, they kind of, I don't know, I don't know if there's a way to engage with them more, to they just kind of, they either don't do anything, they just kind of stay, or they will dissipate. And I don't feel that I really, I don't feel that I connect with little Mo easily, and that I don't have the vocabulary for how to comfort her a little bit, but not a lot. So I just that's what I have to work with, are the little sensations.
Well, I have a quick first question, is just, do you feel like you have big emotions?
No. Well, no, I'd say no.
So it's not just that you don't feel a lot in the body, it's that you're not really sensing a lot of emotional change or a lot of,
Yeah.
because I could hear in your voice even the sort of emotion when you talked about little Mo, and it's like there's something there that feels this, like there is something that would like to be met, would like to be felt, and
Yes,
it's just finding the way of getting in contact with that. How do you know, in what ways does that little Mo have, I love that name, have should make herself known? How does she get seen, that you even know that there's something there that could use being reached out to?
Well, there are sensations, emotions, things that have come up recently that feel new. And my mind just went blank.
What kind of sensations and emotions?
Oh goodness, I'm totally blanking out on that. The stock answer would be not being good enough, but there's specific some things that I've been realizing lately, not standing up for myself, not taking my space, and I feel it, and I feel her in that. It feels like she's feeling what, but the feeling's coming from her. It's really funny that I cannot recall, because I've probably posted about it on Discord. I don't know, but it's gone. But it feels, not wanting to make my husband angry, that. And that feels very young, from a year, and yet I have no sense growing up that was a thing. But that clearly was a thing, because I'm noticing in so many different ways how I curtail, and it's like I don't want to take too long doing the things that I do, because, but my husband will never, like, it's totally fine. Like, there's no reality to it, but I feel her anxiety around that.
To me, it sounds a lot like a fourth fetter issue, because you keep comparing. When you say I don't have any big emotions, what are you comparing to? There's something here, and then there's a fantasy there that you do not have, the big emotions that you do not have that you do want. And just like you say, I don't want to take up too much time. Again, there's a comparing. What is too much time? I mean, we can be digging a hole until we drop dead at the age of 95. So what is too much time? You know what I mean? There is a comparison all the way, with everything that is not this. Yeah, the feelings that you have, they are not big enough. And when you go blank, there's something that you should not go blank. That there's a constantly comparison with something that is not here. And what is here is not what you want. It's something else that you want. I want the bigger feelings. I don't want to take up time and take too long time. And I don't want to, instead of noticing what actually is here. Because little Mo is here, and that constant comparison. But if I'm there, then I can be with the little Mo. But that is right here.
So it's a question that I did ask on Discord recently about, because there's two kinds of approaches that I've heard. One where you drop the label and sit with the sensation.
Yeah.
The other is the reparenting. So being with little Mo and listening to her and hearing her. And
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just two different entries into the same thing. It's just two different fingers pointing at the same moon.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Whatever works. If it works for you, just to sit right now when you go blank. I love Jahara. Whenever she is put on the spot on the camera, the first thing she does is closing her eyes and breathe and connect to the body. And she does not give a flying fruit about who is sitting and waiting or how long it's going to take. I need to connect to ask my question. And I love that so much, because that is exactly what all of us need. Whenever we ask the question, all of us need just to, just a moment. I just got rattled there a moment. I completely forgot what it was I'm doing. And then just connect with the body. Oh yeah, I'm here now. And then you can buy the stamps at the post office or whatever you're standing and supposed to do. So it's the same thing. When you have that feeling of, I don't have big emotions. Okay, what is here right now? What do you feel? I feel completely numb. Okay, can you be in a body right now that is completely numb? Remove the label of numb. How does it feel to be in a body that feels like it does right now?
Okay, so often and right now, the sensation is in the throat and down to the solar plexus.
Yeah. So sit and breathe with that. You can put a hand on your throat if you want to, and the solar plexus. Just sit and breathe with it. And notice that it's just a snapshot of a now, and another snapshot of a now, and another snapshot of a now. And you will notice that contraction in the throat and down to the solar plexus, it's not a solid sensation. It's moving and changing with every single breath you do. with every single new snapshot that is happening. The sensation is actually alive. Something is happening.
You can notice also that the sensation isn't the totality of your experience, right? Like, can you feel the space around the sensation?
That's a good one too, yeah.
That it's almost like you're seeing or feeling it from a bit of a distance, where you can actually feel the space encapsulating it. Like, it's not the entirety of your experience is that clenching, right?
Right.
So you can actually practice to feel that, where you're feeling more and more of the space around. You can kind of expand that out and allow that sensation to still be there, but it's taking up less of your attention or less of the awareness. And from that perspective, you can then also, you can gain some perspective that because when it's really big, when it feels like it's really intense, it seems to be telling you something very important that needs your attention, that you have to follow up into, to inquire into. And when we can see it from a distance, all of a sudden it doesn't seem as important anymore. It starts to lose some of that weight that it seems to have in our momentary experience right now.
So that's really interesting, because I thought the important thing was to do the exact opposite of that.
Mm-hmm. Going into it to feel it more and more and more until
you let it get bigger and bigger. I mean, I've heard Pernille say that, let it, stay with it, let it get bigger and bigger, then drop the label and stay with the sensation. But I could easily do what you're saying. And that seems to be what I mean, that's specifically, that's not what I've done, but distracting myself is definitely what I've done.
Yeah. So. And this is a way of not distracting ourselves from it. You're still fully present with it, but you're aware of the malleability of what we take to be our experience. And it's pointing into the sixth fetter, and it's pointing to that way that we shape our experience into something when it's really not. So it's not that I am here in this little inner room surrounded by this overwhelming sensation. You're starting to have that moment of control over it, where it's like, oh, well, actually I can zoom out so that sensation is way over there and I can still feel it, but all of a sudden I have all this spaciousness to play around in, and the entire the entire experience starts to change from that. And then you start to get into that experience of even your external world isn't the solid thing that you once took it to be. That it's not that because the wall is out there, I assume the wall is exactly 6 feet away from me, and I can, it's that same sort of malleability that you're starting to play with internally as well as externally. And then it's with the seventh fetter, with what you actually make out of that sensation. So originally it's, well, I have this sensation and it means dread. It means that I'm not good enough. It means that I'm not allowed to take up space. Well, where in that sensation can you find that sentence? Where in that sensation is that meaning lying? So is it something that has been adhered to it? It's just glued to it by way of, a thought that gets stuck to it. So now it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. This is just a little nugget of bzzz that's off in the distance. And it's not my overwhelming inability to stand up for myself, or my overwhelming inability to ask for my needs to be met, or whatever else. This is just, oh, this is just a little sensation in the body. Wasn't that curious?
Yeah. Like that. Thank you.
You have a really good poem in Todd. He's writing a poetry book.
You have to announce it every single meeting.
I do. It's so good. Todd is writing a poetry book. My clever husband, he's a poet, and he's so good.
He's a poet.
He's a poet. He hates when I'm saying that. But he has a really, really good poem where, and I'm gonna butcher this right now, so hold on to your suspenders.
I'm very excited to hear this.
It's where he's describing that he's sitting in a red room, and everything is just red around him, and the walls are red, and the furniture is red, everything is just crimson red. And then he kind of like ends up in a position where he's standing on a field, and it's just mountains and green field and everything, and there's one single puppy on that whole field that was that red room. And I just butchered it, and I hope all of you understood what the symbolism is, because it's absolutely beautiful. It's exactly that. By whatever feels huge, when we really put it into perspective, it is nothing but a little crimson puppy on a huge field.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was.
You can look forward. It's a bloody amazing book. It's so good. It's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for your perspective, Todd. That really just, phew, just did a big flip.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it's not to also devalue what Pernille has said
about
feeling the sensation, letting it bigger and bigger. That's also another approach.
You need to do no, but you need to do that first. You need to allow things that you have pushed away your entire life. You need to allow it to be there without a label on it, and allow it to be as big as possible. So it cannot go any bigger. It needs to be allowed before you can see that it's just a little red crimson puppy on a field. It needs to have space. We need to create the space, the self-care for the non-self. We need to do that first, because otherwise, if you just jump straight into I'm a puppy on the field, it's bypassing 101.
Okay, how do I do that then? How do I, if it's not going to get bigger and bigger, and it's doesn't seem to go anywhere, how do I give it space when it just kind of dissipates?
Allow it to be exactly like it is.
Yeah, I mean, however, you have in mind now that it has to become as big as the room, but it's not a problem that it's not getting to be as big as the room. It just gets to be as big as a thimble, and that's what it is. Let it become as big as a thimble, if that's as big as it gets, and then just see what you can get out of that experience. If it's not overwhelming, then it's not overwhelming. You don't have to try to make it into something that it's not. It's just we normally go through life deflecting, distracting, and making it so that we don't feel what's already there.
Like Patty talked about,
exactly.
All that toxic positivity has completely pushed everything aside. That needs to be, experienced.
Yeah. And so this is a way of openly embracing whatever it is at whatever extreme it wants to show up. And it doesn't have to show up at one of those extremes. It's just giving it the opportunity to, if it wants to grow, if it wants to expand, if it wants to fill the room, it can. And then you notice that even if it does, it doesn't have that overwhelming character that we gave it when we were only looking at it through like the keyhole of, it's like we feel like there's some really scary thing, and we're like, well, okay, I'll just look at it from here. I'm not going to, can't really open my eyes to it. It's really seeing it full on. It's like, oh, okay, you're really not that terrifying now that I see you with both eyes open. It's that approach. And then just really, really feeling however it shows up, and noticing what else it brings with it. Does it bring thoughts about all of the other inadequacies and inabilities and unmet needs and all the beliefs that you have about yourself? Do those things come with it? And then, like I said, does the sensation itself have that sentence inherent in it? Is it really related to those things, or is this like a piggyback? Like the sensation is here and there's a thought that seems to come with it, and then which one comes first? And you can kind of have fun just exploring all of this and see how this is really developing, and how perhaps you had one thought about oh, I always have to rush so my husband doesn't think badly. And then all of a sudden you get this contraction in the throat. And now if you're feeling the contraction in the throat, that might bring up a spiral of all of these memories of other times that you've done that in the past with other people, or just forced yourself into these experiences where you've been in positions where you don't allow yourself to fully do what you're doing or express what you want to express, because you're thinking about how somebody else is going to interpret this, or what my doing this might cause them to think or do or say, and I have to manage that ahead of time. You might get a flurry of that, and then each one of those is probably going to spark more of that sensation. And it's just being aware, okay, it's sensation, it's not the overwhelming thing, and the thought isn't an overwhelming thing. The thought is just a sentence. The thought is just a mental image that shows up. There's nothing overwhelming in one of those, and there's nothing overwhelming in the sensation itself. It's the combining of the two when we don't feel like we have the bandwidth or the capacity to really fully accept it and fully encounter it, that we make it into something so much bigger than it is. So we're taking it apart to see, okay, I can actually sit with this component, and I can sit with this component, and it's totally fine. It might not be the most comfortable part of my day, but it's okay. It's not overwhelming. And as you found, it does dissipate on its own very quickly if we're not creating more and more stories or imagining more and more scenarios that reflect it and reinforce it.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so
So
much.
good to see you as always.
Yeah. Before the next one,
Yes.
I just want to apologize for me saying be quiet. It was supposed to be funny with
When did you
Iva.
say be quiet?
Well, it was supposed to be funny with Iva, but it wasn't. It doesn't feel funny.
Wait, when did you?
When you kept talking and she talked and you talked, it was supposed to be
It was
funny.
actually very funny.
It was supposed to be super funny, but it didn't feel funny.
Oh, but I felt it was funny.
Okay.
But thank you. It's very sweet of you to say, but no, I actually thought it was really funny. Oh,
now I think it's funny.
And actually, hold on. I just want to see. Oh, sorry. I did not see that. We will take you off. Preska asked, I tell myself that I should sit in silent meditation or join Todd's guided meditation, but have resistance because it conflicts with all the other activities I believe needs to be done. Then guilt trip myself. I want to spend time on Discord and read all and participate, but I want to just listen to my audiobook. Do you have a...
Oh, should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a big topic.
It's a huge topic. Yeah. It's that idea that there is something better than what we're doing right now. I should be meditating instead of reading my audiobook. I should be engaging on Discord instead of reading my audiobook. As if we know what is the best thing to do. It sounds like the best thing for you to do at the moment is listening to your audiobook. Enjoy.
Yeah, really, the key with this is very third fetter, is to feel into why you have that resistance to doing the thing that you want to do, and what it is about
those things that you think, no, but also those things. What is it about those things that you think is going to be good for you if you do them?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brilliant me.
Precisely what I was going for.
Good girl.
So yeah, as Pernille
so brilliantly said.
So wisely just said, just be aware of each of those things. Like if you have the idea that I should be meditating right now, just take a pause to feel into what it is that you think you're going to get out of meditating right now. Why is that a preferable experience for you in this moment? Does it feel like you have an expectation of what is going to happen in that meditation, or how you're going to be better or improved or different or changed afterwards, compared to the limited perspective and expectation that, well, I just would enjoy reading the book, but you don't know how you would be changed or what further experiences or thoughts or anything else are going to come out of that. So really feel into, in any moment, that it's like, I want to do this thing, but I should do this other thing. why do you want to do the thing that you want to do? And why do you want to do the thing that you think, or why do you or don't you want to do the thing that you feel like you should be doing, but are reluctant to do? Because there's probably a lot of stuff in there on both of those counts for you.
Yeah.
Even the thing that you want to do, reading the audiobook, why do you want to do that? Is that because it just seems relaxing and there's really this like feeling of pull towards it? Or is it because it's a deflection from doing things that are harder or that are, also calling for your attention, and it's a way of just zoning out? Are you too overwhelmed with other things at this point? And it's like, no, I just need to shut my brain off and just listen to an audiobook, or, really like feel into why you think you're getting something even out of that as opposed to everything else. And
it's very Fetter, like you say, 39 Fetter. Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. And now I think
Okay,
it's Lorraine.
Lorraine, let me get you up. That's fine. There we go. Hello again. How are you?
Fancy seeing you here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Good to see you both. I enjoyed the dancing so much.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Yes. So what's going on is I've been doing some I'm with the LU and I have a guide, and I am recently experiencing different shifts. I don't really know the word for it, but with the non-self, no self, and so on. And a lot of things are falling away,
Nice.
and I'm losing interest in a lot of things, and which is all, it's just what is. It's yeah, it just is. And it's a beautiful place if you want to label it, but it's actually a beautiful place. The thing, my question is, when I'm around others, my friends who don't do this, okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'll back up a little bit. I'm a former social worker, so a lot of my friends would come to me with problems and so on. And this has been going on for quite some time. This is just, it's how to navigate this, not even navigate, I don't know the word is. I know to just be there with them and not to do the solution, problem solving, to not go into that. When I'm around them, though, they just persist and persist. They got a problem after problem. They just will just like they're dogs on it, It's like like a dog on a bone. They just won't stop, And so that's a judgment, I know. But I mean, this is what I'm, and I don't feel the need, or nothing is coming up to disassociate from these friends or put up boundaries or any of that, really. It's really all I'm going internal. It's like what's coming up for me, which is the letting go of the people pleasing, the problem solving, the putting other people's needs first. It's, all letting all of that's going away. And at the same time, it's just these problems. And maybe you can shed some light on it. Maybe there's something that there's a blind spot that I have, okay, that they really don't have problems. It's just a story that they're saying. And I mean, I intellectually I know that. And the thing is, I still want to be present and show compassion and empathy. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
How to, okay.
The first thing I'm thinking of, and it might not be relevant at all, but the first thing I'm thinking of is, are those relationships equal? Because you said that you have a lot of friends because you're social workers, so they have a lot of issues. Is it equal? Do you equally come to them with issues in your life? Do you equally share what is going on in your life, even though it's not problems, but just share your experiences with them? Or is it very one way with them?
I do share. Yes, I share a lot of what I'm doing here and with this, and they just look at me like I'm an alien because it is kind of weird.
Yeah. So the only thing I'm asking to if is just, becoming aware if the relationship is equal. So if there is an equal exchange of of experiences and of life? Or are you people pleasing?
I feel the people pleasing feels to be dropping away. So let me see. The exchange that I have with them when I share my vulnerability, my heart, and all of this, it feels really good to do that, you know. And I'm not expecting anything from anybody. I don't feel that I need anything really. It feels good to share those, and there's just maybe this discrepancy or something is how I go about, and I'm doing different things, whatever. For instance, the Fetter work and all, you know, this stuff, and the non-dualism, which, yeah. I mean, so there's a little bit of a meeting point, like one of my friends is doing a lot of inner child work and a lot of going into the body, somatic stuff. It's, you know, so yeah, it is just, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at there as far as the question then. It just feels like there's, I don't know. I don't even know how to relate anymore to, yeah.
Because what I'm thinking is that the more you work with this, the more you become aware of that you do not have any any solution to anything, and you do not have the answer to anything they do. The only one you're giving answers to is you. So when a friend is coming and asking you, oh, this and this is happening in my life, what should I do? With the work you're doing here, you become more and more aware that you can't answer that. The friend can answer that. And the only thing you can do is create space for the friend to come to the solution themselves. Because whatever answer you give is just a reflection of you and your causes and conditions, and would be a solution for you if you were in a similar situation. And that insight does change friendships. It makes them, in my experience, much, much deeper. Because instead of it being a very shallow problem solving, then it's a much deeper acknowledgement of, you know, I'm here. Tell me what's going on and I will help you find your solution, but you are the one finding it. It's not something that I can give to you. And sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you.
Well, I was gonna say the other thing that I would say is, like, in regards to how to kind of meet them, is that what we do is really meeting the person where they are. And so even though you have this kind of bigger perspective that, of course, the stories are just stories, and of course the problems aren't really real to you, you can have that kind of fifth floor view, but for them it feels real. And so when we're talking to people, depending on, you know, a lot of times when we meet people, we don't really know where they're at in their lives. And so it's meeting them at the place that they are. So if it feels absolutely real to them, you meet it as though it's absolutely real. And you still have the perspective that, you know, it's not. But in the way that you relate to them, that doesn't have to be colored by your internal kind of detachment or objective view of what it is. You can really kind of play with being there with them in that moment and really allow that empathy to still work and to be attached and connected in that moment, in that space with them. And then hopefully also, because you have this bigger perspective to draw from, it might, without you intentionally doing something or intentionally trying to steer them someplace or in you know, give them the solution, or even just tell them that their problems are nonsense and they're not real, it can happen just on its own, that they are kind of picking up on your openness or your ability to hold it.
It was exactly what I meant, with that relationship do change the more that you are aware that
Does that?
Yes, yes, very helpful. It's from what I'm hearing from both of you is just to just be there with them in that moment with no preconceived whatever, but just in that moment and just showing up. For instance, I'm going to leave here in a few minutes. My friend's mother just passed away, so so we're going to be meeting, and so to just be there, certainly for her in that moment, and yeah, right.
and also like Todd said, that you might have the overview, the fifth floor view, and see that the problem that they have is not really a problem. But by being compassionate, you put yourself, you see everything from their point of view, which means that the problem is a problem. For them, it is a problem. It's not a problem for you, but it's a problem for them. And really seeing the world from their perspective is so helpful, because all of us just want to be seen. All of us just want to be heard. So the biggest gift we can give to a friend is actually have that perspective that you're starting to feel that you have now, that you can see there are no problems. There's not a single problem that your friends can complain about, but that's your perspective. When you're with your friends, you put yourself in their shoes and you feel their problems and you share the space with them with that problem, and that is the biggest gift we can give another person.
Yes, that really resonates with me, Pernille, and that's a correct pronunciation of your name, Pernille?
It's completely fine. You can call me whatever you want.
Okay.
we normally call it Pernille.
Pernille.
Yeah.
Okay. That certainly resonates with me, Pernille, and yeah, that is their story, and so I see that.
Yeah.
And therefore, in a sense, me being there, and there is no separateness truly. So it is, in a sense, my story in a way. I mean, but it's, but not. It is, but not. Yeah, right. When I'm in there in that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, and also when you do the work here, if you have had issues with like a coworker that's super dominating at work, and then you start to do the work here, and all of a sudden you see, oh my goodness, she's not dominating towards me, she's dominating towards herself in everything she does. So in you, it starts to relax. When you then have a friend that comes and say, I have a coworker and she's so dominating, you have been in that room. You know exactly how that feels. So you can absolutely relate to the pain that your friend feels, even though you know it's not a real story. It's just an experience, an internal experience, but you can share that space with the friend.
Yes, thank you. Thank you both very much. I appreciate you both. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good to see
you.
Thank you.
And then it's Jeremy. Yay.
Hello.
Hey, way too long time no see.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
How you been?
Really good. Thank you.
Good.
How have you been?
Oh,
we're well, thanks.
Writing a poetry book.
You do not miss an opportunity.
I do not. It's so good, Jeremy. It's so good.
You said something earlier that struck me, and I'd just like to maybe get a better understanding of it, because where my brain went didn't seem like what you had potentially intended. And what you had said was, if I were wise, what would I do? And where my thoughts immediately went was like, what should I do? And like
is
sort of
wise?
Obligation, or
is that wise?
I see what you did there. That was good. No, it's not wise.
So there we go.
It's really calling for that.
That's all I needed.
It's calling for that innate wisdom, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If the rational conceptual mind is immediately jumping in to chime in with an answer, then that's probably not the thing, right? That's just your old habitual way of going about problem solving.
I figured you were going to answer that.
And if it gives you pause to going like, oh, hang on, then I don't know what to do, then that's a good thing, because that is giving you a different starting point. It's giving it just indicates to you that you have a very set in stone starting point to problem solving. And if this question helped you to either give you a different starting point or no starting point whatsoever and just be present with whatever unfolds, then it's a good thing.
What often happens is there's nothing to do. Like
Exactly.
if I just pause for a second, it's like, well, nothing has to be done, really.
Exactly. And that is where you're putting yourself in the position of no starting point. And then the next step is to be open to that ninth fetter flow, where whatever presents itself is where that will be the direction you're flowing.
You know, it reminds me of something that I had heard. Oh, I hadn't thought about this for a long time, but this like perspective of um, acting as if you died in your sleep last night and thinking of all the things that you had told yourself that you had to do today, otherwise just everything would be terrible. Um, and realizing that those things weren't so acting as if you had died in your sleep. Now those things aren't getting done and everything is still fine.
Yeah.
The world moved on.
Yeah.
And so now there's like so much freedom
I love that.
Yeah.
in a sense of that.
Yeah.
Not quite the same, but I don't know, it came to mind.
Yeah.
I really like that.
So the wisdom that you're referring to if is in the statement, if I were wise, what would I do? There's I just lost my train of thought.
There's a complete freedom. There's a complete freedom to in the moment, because wisdom is to adapt to the moment. We cannot have a set in stone reaction planned out ahead of time, because that is assuming a linear, progression of actions and time, which is expectation and victimhood. So it's that completely unpinning everything, completely not having a starting point at all, but just moving with whatever is alive in this moment.
What just came up in my head was and maybe this ties to the thought that I was trying to have, is that like there are versions of wisdom from my past, like if I were a wise in a particular context, or if I were trying to achieve something that, and there's like a an expert or a wise person in that area. But this, what I'm hearing the phrase now is that if I were truly wise and not, if less in terms of like wisdom in terms of success or wisdom in terms of health or wisdom in terms of productivity or being great at a certain role. It's like, no, this is a deeper wisdom.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the wisdom of ignorance. It's wisdom of ignorance, the 10th fetter wisdom of ignorance, where you do really knowing that you do not know. So you cannot plan for things to happen sequential in any way, because you do not know the outcome. But you can put yourself in a position where in every single moment you have a fresh engaging in whatever is presenting itself. And that is the wisdom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love you too. I'm so glad that you're still around and I had
yeah. Yeah, we're happy we're still around.
Come back to.
we're glad you're back with us.
Yeah, that's
It's
nice.
good to see you.
Yeah, so good to see
You
you.
too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I think that was the last question.
I think so. I have a
Can you-
session, and
Yeah,
there was a chat thing.
Oh,
Was there?
okay.
Okay. So Preska said, thank you so much. I had stepped out of the room and missed the first comment. We'll watch recording. I will wonder what I think I might get from meditation or audiobook. Audiobook is such a wonderful, oops, I can't see it. Wonderful, fun, compelling story. Meditating is hard, not generates something that causes me to feel like it's benefiting me or having a positive effect other than waste time being restless and thinking. Gotta go to work. Yeah,
oh, the irony in that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would just not to persuade you to do meditation as opposed to doing an audiobook, but being aware of there are thousands of different types of meditation.
Yes.
And if the type of meditation that you're doing feels like work and it feels like you're just wasting your time being restless or thinking, then maybe that's not the type of meditation
that's good for you.
Right, exactly. Find what calls out to you that day, at that moment, and then you'll be much more able to be in that sort of flowing, like I always recommend people to have like a toolbox of meditation, different types of meditations if they want to do meditation, because it's not going to be every day that you feel like doing the same thing or that it's going to be beneficial. So you should really have that flexibility to just today I feel like counting breaths, and you count breaths, and today I feel like doing a see, hear, feel, and I'm just doing like a Vipassana meditation, or today
I feel like doodling.
Yeah.
So I'm painting or doodling, or I'm creating music, or I'm walking barefoot in the grass, or there's no set in stone decision on what meditation is, because it's more a state of mind.
Yeah.
It's more that complete relaxation. And you might even achieve that with the audiobook.
Yeah.
I mean, who are we to know?
Yeah, I mean, there's you can like listen in a way in which you're not just listening to the words, but you're listening to the sound itself. And if you close your eyes and pay attention to the fullness of the sound and where the sound of the speaker's voice is appearing, and how you're interpreting that into words and sentences and meaning,
and maybe internal imagery.
Yeah, exactly. Like how all of this becomes something else. That can be an incredibly deep meditation. It can be a sixth fetter meditation, seventh fetter meditation. There's so much in every experience that you can get from that, if you are just open and aware and curious and exploring.
Yeah.
And so there's no, like you said, that there's no barrier between listening to an audiobook or meditating or doing anything else. Everything can be
There's
meditation.
no right way.
No, but also notice, like we said before, does it feel like you are listening to this audiobook now with full attention because this is my meditation practice and I have to get something out of it? If it starts to swing over to not just being a really interesting, curious way to spend an afternoon, but because you have to use your time wisely, because you only have so many spare minutes and so many years left in your life and all of that, and I have to make the most of them and squeeze every bit of life out of it and get every bit of attainment I can, then look at what's behind that. Is there fear behind it? What is going on that is driving you to want to strive and seek and not be happy just simply sitting and listening to an audiobook?
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
And Susan said, this is a shout of gratitude for hearing from people I haven't heard from before. I've only been involved since the retreat, and I love hearing from more people. It makes me feel like a greater part of the community, and each person sharing offers greater insight.
And I just want to say that I absolutely agree. I am so grateful to all you new young people that are here today and participating and asking questions.
Yeah.
So happy you're here. I'm also happy for all the old guys that that are asking questions. But it's so nice to see, and very brave for everybody new to come on and ask questions like this.
Yeah.
I love that. On Friday,
sorry. I was just going to also say, she asked, is there a suggested donation for these sessions and where do we donate? And I was just going to say, we don't have a specified. We do accept donations, but it's not required or expected.
It's
And
really
there's no,
appreciated.
yeah,
It
but
makes it possible for Todd to write his poetry book.
but in no way an obligation. So if you can't donate, please continue to feel
Good.
free to come.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't have the link handy. I don't know, Leela, do you by any chance have the link that you can post? It's my PayPal link.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have it
So-
handy.
Okay,
Do you have
I'll
it?
find it, but
I'm
it's,
sorry.
we're
Thank
about
you.
to end. We're about to end.
Yeah, we are.
It's
We
I
are.
know.
under
We are.
your, if you go into unfettered mindfulness, but you should really have this link more visible somewhere.
Yeah, I
it,
don't
it
know.
is. It's going to be under the video, and you can
Yeah,
also
true.
donate via both our YouTube channels. It goes to the same account. So that's also another way to show appreciation, and we are so grateful because it really what is making everything possible.
Yeah.
So thank you very
So
much
you're
for all
going to
donations.
post the full length video today.
Yeah, or
And
tomorrow.
Or maybe he
Yeah.
has a session later, so probably
Yeah,
tomorrow.
maybe tomorrow.
And then it's gonna be in the comment section, but it is in the description of the videos of every single video. So no matter which video you go to on either of our channels, it's there.
Thank you, Patty.
Or it's right
Amazing.
there, Patty.
Thank you so much,
Patty
Patty.
is a rock star. There we go.
That was amazing.
That's it.
Yay.
Thank you. So,
And then I want just a practical
Yeah.
thing that on Monday a video comes up where we talk about it's a little bit of a sofa set where we talk about going from the Advaita belief and into what we're talking with the fetters, which can be destabilizing in many different ways. If it is, please write us. And on Friday next week we have the Q&A, so you can also write us there. The questions that we get for the Q&A is partly live on YouTube for members of the Awakening curriculum, that you can write the questions there, participate like now, where you just write the questions, or if you can't participate or if you don't want to become a member, you can just write the questions on Discord under the Friday Q&A. And I think that was it.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
everyone.
much, everyone. It was so nice.
Lovely seeing you.
Really nice. And thank you for
Great.
being up for the movement in the beginning. That was wonderful.
Yeah, we'll probably be back to meditation next time. So
Probably.
yeah, but that was
Yeah.
a nice change.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
everyone.
much. Thank you so much.
Lots of love to you
Bye,
all.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.